In 1955, a man opened a small burger restaurant in America. Nothing unusual about that. Cheap food, fast service, paper hats, greasy floors. Just another restaurant chasing the American dream. But hidden underneath the smell of fries was one of the most brilliant financial systems ever created. Because McDonald's was never really selling burgers. That was the illusion. Quietly, slowly, almost invisibly, McDonald's was buying America itself. Land, corners, intersections, highways, cities. And while millions of people believed they were watching the rise of a fast food company, they were actually witnessing the birth of a real estate empire. An empire disguised as a restaurant. And the terrifying part? Most of the people inside the system never even realized it. Not the customers, not the franchise owners, not even the employees spending their lives under the golden arches. Because the real machine was hidden underneath. Invisible, cold, mathematical. And once you see it, you can never look at McDonald's the same way again. The 1950s in America felt electric. The war was over. Suburbs were exploding. Cars were everywhere. The entire country was being redesigned around roads. And roads create something very dangerous. Predictable human movement. Millions of families suddenly behaved in patterns. Drive, stop, eat, continue. And whoever controlled those stopping points controlled the flow of money itself. Most restaurant owners saw food. Ray Kroc saw geography. That's what made him different. Kroc wasn't the founder of McDonald's. That part shocks people. The original restaurant belonged to two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald. And honestly, their system was genius. Fast kitchens, simplified menus, extreme efficiency. Food production turned into an assembly line, almost mechanical. Kroc saw it for the first time and became obsessed. Not emotionally, strategically, because he understood something most people never do. The most powerful businesses are not built around products. They are built around systems. Products change, people change, trends change, but systems survive generations. And then everything changed. Kroc approached the brothers with an idea. Franchising. Scale the restaurant. Replicate the machine. Spread it across America. At first, it looked like a simple expansion strategy. More burgers, more stores, more profit. Normal. Except it wasn't. Because early on, the company had a massive problem. The restaurants were making money, but McDonald's itself wasn't. Franchisees kept most of the profits, and the company was trapped, growing rapidly, while staying financially weak. It's one of the strangest paradoxes in business. A company can look enormous, while secretly starving underneath. And that's where the trap begins. Most entrepreneurs believe scaling automatically creates wealth. It doesn't. Scaling without control just creates larger chaos. Kroc needed leverage. Real leverage. And then a man named Harry Sonneborn entered the picture. Quietly, almost invisibly, Sonneborn looked at McDonald's and realized something that would change corporate history forever. He said, "You're not in the hamburger business. You're in the real estate business." One sentence. That was it. One sentence that transformed McDonald's from a restaurant chain into an empire. Because Sonneborn understood human behavior at a terrifying level. Restaurants fail constantly. Food trends die. Menus change. Customers disappear. But land remains. Especially strategic land. Corners near highways. Busy intersections. Growing suburbs. Places where human traffic becomes predictable. McDonald's stopped simply franchising restaurants. Instead, they started buying the land underneath them, then leasing that land back to franchise owners. And suddenly, everything changed. Now McDonald's controlled the location, which meant they controlled the franchisee, which meant they controlled the system. The burgers became secondary. The fries became secondary. Even the brand itself became secondary. The real business was ownership. And ownership changes power. Forever. Think about the psychological brilliance of this. A franchise owner believed they owned a McDonald's. But in reality, they were operating inside a structure where McDonald's controlled almost everything. The land, the building, the lease, the system, the branding, the supply chain. It was freedom, with invisible walls. That's the genius of modern corporations. The best systems never feel like cages. They feel like opportunity. And people willingly step inside. By the 1960s and 70s, America was transforming into a consumer machine. Shopping centers exploded. Highways expanded. Suburbs stretched endlessly outward. and McDonald's followed all of it. Like a shadow, quietly buying pieces of the future before the future arrived. That's what made the strategy so dangerous. Timing. McDonald's wasn't just reacting to population growth. They were predicting it, finding intersections before they became valuable, acquiring land before prices exploded, understanding where humans would eventually gather. Because the greatest fortunes are made by controlling where attention flows before everyone else notices. And attention eventually becomes money. Every golden arch you see today represents something deeper than fast food. It represents territorial dominance, a psychological signal burned into civilization itself. Bright yellow arches beside gray highways. Comfort, predictability, familiarity. No matter where you are, the arches whisper the same thing. You know us. And human beings crave that feeling more than almost anything. Certainty, especially in a chaotic world. That's why McDonald's became unstoppable. Not because the burgers were extraordinary. Honestly, they weren't. But consistency is more powerful than excellence. That's one of the hidden truths of capitalism. Humans don't always choose the best thing. They choose the most familiar thing. Again, and again, and again. McDonald's mastered psychological repetition at a global scale. The same colors, the same taste, the same smell, the same experience. Tokyo, New York, Dubai, London, different cultures. Same system, almost machine-like. And machines don't sleep. That's what makes large corporations feel strangely inhuman. Over time, they evolved beyond the people inside them. Ray Kroc eventually became less important than the system itself. Employees changed. Executives changed. Customers changed. But the machine continued expanding, relentlessly. And underneath it all, the real estate portfolio kept growing. Today, McDonald's controls some of the most valuable commercial property on Earth. Not hidden in secret vaults, hidden in plain sight. Thousands of locations. Some sitting on intersections worth millions. Others embedded in the center of urban movement itself. The company earns enormous revenue not just from food, but from rent. That's the hidden engine. And suddenly the entire business starts looking different. The burgers are bait. The real product is dependency. A franchise owner spends millions building a location, but the land underneath belongs to McDonald's. So even success creates deeper attachment to the system. That's psychological gravity. The more invested people become, the harder it becomes to leave. Modern capitalism is full of structures like this. Systems where ownership is separated from labor, where corporations control the foundation, while individuals carry the operational risk. And most people never notice, because the surface story feels comforting. Restaurants, smiling employees, happy meals, family branding. But underneath, contracts, assets, leverage, control, cold architecture hidden beneath warm branding. And McDonald's may be one of the greatest examples ever created. But the story becomes even darker when you realize what this model did to the modern world itself. Because McDonald's didn't just adapt to suburban expansion. In many ways, it accelerated it. The company became intertwined with the rise of car culture. Drive-thrus, highway exits, commercial zoning. Entire landscapes started organizing themselves around corporate accessibility. The restaurant wasn't just feeding America. It was helping redesign America. That's the strange thing about massive corporations. Eventually, they stop existing inside society and start shaping society itself. Cities bend around them. Human habits bend around them. Even childhood memories become connected to them. Birthday parties, road trips, late-night stops, cheap meals after school. McDonald's embedded itself emotionally into human life. Not through force, through repetition. That's how real influence works. Not loudly, quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. And maybe that's why the company feels so unsettling once you truly understand it. Because it reveals something uncomfortable about modern civilization. The biggest empires no longer look like empires. There are no kings sitting on golden thrones. No armies marching through streets. Modern empires wear logos. They hide inside convenience, inside routine, inside harmless daily rituals. And the more invisible the system becomes, the more powerful it gets. That's the final twist in the McDonald's story. People think power looks dramatic. It usually doesn't. Real power looks ordinary. A burger beside a highway. A child holding fries. A glowing sign in the rain. Simple things. But underneath those simple things, are billions of dollars in land ownership, psychological conditioning, global supply chains, and one of the most sophisticated corporate structures ever built, all hidden beneath the illusion of fast food. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The world is rarely controlled by the businesses people pay attention to. It's controlled by the infrastructure underneath them, the invisible layers, the systems beneath the systems. Because the people who own the foundation eventually own everything built on top of it. And McDonald's understood that earlier than almost anyone. They didn't just sell food. They captured locations, then behavior, then culture itself, one intersection at a time, one family at a time, one routine at a time, quietly, slowly, almost invisibly, until the entire world woke up surrounded by golden arches, without ever noticing how they got there.